Jeremy. Today's day one. Actually, not 100. We're on day 200 of reading Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. We've made it 200 days. 200, which is crazy. We're on page 417. I'm looking forward to informing the Daily Prophet that we've got him at last. I don't dare say they will want to interview you, Snape. And once young Harry's back in his right mind, I expect he'll want to tell the Prophet exactly how you saved him. Harry clenched his teeth. He caught a glimpse of Snape's smirk as he and Fudge passed Harry and Hermione's hiding place. Their footsteps died away. Harry and Hermione waited a few moments to make sure they'd really gone, then started to run in the opposite direction. Down one staircase, then another, along a new critter. Then they heard a cackling ahead. "Peeves!" Harry muttered, grabbing Hermione's wrist. "In here!" They tore into a deserted classroom to the left just in time. Peeves seemed to be bouncing along the corridor in boisterous good spirits, laughing his head off. "Oh, he's horrible," whispered Hermione, her ear to the door. "I bet he's all excited because the Dementors are going to finish off Cyrus." She checked her watch. 3 minutes, Harry. They waited until Peeves' gloating voice had faded into the distance, then slid back out of the room, and broke into a run again. "Hermione, what'll happen if we don't get back inside before Dumbledore locks the door?" Harry panted. "I don't want to think about it," Hermione moaned, checking her watch again. 1 minute! They had reached the end of the corridor with the hospital wing entrance. "Okay, I can hear Dumbledore," said Hermione tensely. "Come on, Harry." They crept along the corridor. The door opened. Dumbledore's back appeared. "I'm going to lock you in," they heard him saying. "It is 5 minutes to midnight, Miss Granger. 3 turns should do it. Good luck." Dumbledore backed out of the room, closing the doors, and took out his wand to magically lock it. Panicking, Harry and Hermione ran forward. Dumbledore looked up, and a wide smile appeared under the long silver mustache. "Well," he said quietly. "We did it," said Harry breathlessly. "Cyrus is gone on Buckbeak." Dumbledore beamed at them. "Well done, I think." He listened intently for any sound within the hospital wing. "Yes, I think you've gone too. Get inside, I'll lock you in." Harry and Hermione slid back inside the dormitory. It was empty except for Ron, who was still lying motionless in the bed. As the lock clicked behind them, Harry and Hermione crept back to their own beds, Hermione tucking the time-turner back under her robes. A moment later, Madame Pomfrey came striding back out of her office. "Did I hear the headmaster leaving? Am I allowed to look after my patients now?" She was in a very bad mood. Harry and Hermione thought it best to accept their chocolate quietly. Madame Pomfrey stood over them, making sure they ate it. But Harry could hardly swallow. He and Hermione were waiting, listening, their nerves jangling. And then, as they both took a 4th piece of chocolate from Madame Pomfrey, they heard a distant roar of fury echoing from somewhere above them. "What was that?" said Madame Pomfrey in alarm. Now they could hear angry voices, growing louder and louder. Madame Pomfrey was staring out the door. "Really, they'll wake everybody up! What do they think they're doing?" Harry was trying to hear what the voices were saying. They were drawing near. "He must have disapparated, Severus. We should have left somebody in with him. When this gets out, he didn't disapparate," Snape roared, now very close at hand. "You can't apparate or disapparate inside this castle. This has something to do with Potter." "Severus, be reasonable. Harry has been locked up." Bam! The door of the hospital wing burst open. Fudge, Snape, and Dumbledore came striding into the ward. Dumbledore alone looked calm. Indeed, he looked as though he was quite enjoying himself. Fudge appeared angry, but Snape beside himself. "Out with it, Potter!" he bellowed. "What did you do?" "Professor Snape," shrieked Madame Pomfrey, "control yourself!" "See here, Snape, be reasonable," said Fudge. "This door's been locked. We just saw they helped him escape. I know it," Snape howled, pointing at Harry and Hermione. His face twisted. Spit was flying from his mouth. "Calm down, man," Fudge barked. "You're talking nonsense." "You don't know, Potter," shrieked Snape. "He did it. I know he did it." "That will do, Severus," said Dumbledore quietly. "Think about what you are saying. This door has been locked since I left the ward 10 minutes ago. Madame Pomfrey, have these students left their beds?" "Of course not," said Madame Pomfrey, bristling. "I would have heard them." "Well, there you have it, Severus," said Dumbledore calmly. "Unless you are suggesting that Harry and Hermione are able to be in 2 places at once, I'm afraid I don't see any point in troubling them further." Snape stood there, seething, staring from Fudge, who looked thoroughly shocked at his behavior, to Dumbledore, whose eyes were twinkling behind his glasses. Snape whirled about, robes swishing behind him, and stormed out of the ward. "Fellow seems quite unbalanced," said Fudge, staring after him. "I'd watch out for him if he were you." Dumbledore. "Oh, he's not unbalanced," said Dumbledore quietly. "He's just suffered a severe disappointment. He's not the only one. The Daily's Prophet going to have a field day. We had Black cornered, and he slipped through our fingers yet again. All it needs now is for the story of that Hippogriff escape to get out, and he'll be a laughingstock. Well, I'd better go and notify the Ministry." "And the Dementors?" said Dumbledore. "They'll be removed from the school, I trust?" "Oh, yes, they'll have to go," said Fudge, running his fingers distractedly through his hair. "Never dreamed they'd attempt to administer the kiss on an innocent boy. Completely out of control. No, I'll have them packed off back to Azkaban tonight. Perhaps we should think about dragons at the school entrance." "Hagrid would like that," said Dumbledore, smiling at Harry and Hermione. As he and Fudge left the dormitory, Madame Pomfrey hurried to the door and locked it again, muttering angrily to herself. She had headed back to her office. It was a low moan from the other end of the ward. Ron had woken up. They could see him sitting up, rubbing his head, looking around. What happened?" he groaned. "Harry, why are we in here? Where's Cyrus? Where's Lupin? What's going on?" Harry and Hermione looked at each other. "You explain," said Harry, helping himself to some more chocolate. When Harry, Ron, and Hermione left the hospital wing at noon the next day, it was to find an almost deserted castle. The sweltering heat and the end of exams meant that everyone was taking full advantage of another Hogsmeade visit. Neither Ron or Hermione felt like going, however, so they and Harry wandered on to the grounds, still talking about the extraordinary events of the previous night and wondering where Cyrus and Buckbeak were now. Sitting near the lake, watching the giant squid wave its tentacles lazily above the water, Harry lost the thread of the conversation as he looked across the opposite bank. The stag had galloped toward him from there just last night. A shadow fell across them, and they looked up to see a very bleary-eyed Hagrid, mopping his sweaty face with one of his tablecloth-sized handkerchiefs and beaming down at them. "No, I shouldn't feel happy after what happened last night," he said. "I mean, Black escaping again and everything, but guess what?" "What?" they said, pretending to look curious. "Beaky! He's escaped! He's free! Been celebrating all night!" "That's wonderful," said Hermione, giving Ron a reproving look because he looked as though he was close to laughing. "Yeah, can't have tied him up properly," said Hagrid, gazing happily out over the grounds. "I was worried this morning. Thought he might have met Professor Lupin on the grounds, but Lupin says he never ate anything last night." "What?" said Harry quickly. "Blimey, haven't you